What is up everyone, Movie Way back again with another video, and today is going to be my top 10 PlayStation 2 games. Now I have done a top 10 Xbox 360 games here on the channel, which I'll leave down below in my playlist. But they are my two favourite consoles of all time, the 360 and the PlayStation 2. So I thought, why not, just be a fun little video to make. I was looking through my gaming collection there, and I found this really hard to pick just 10. So I have got 4 honourable mentions as well here. Now, this is a console that I just had so much fun with when I was a teenager. I absolutely just couldn't get me off it, it was the best present I ever got, I think. I got it for Christmas alongside GTA 3. And it's just something I'll never forget. I spent the whole of the half term on Grand Theft Auto, I really did. And it was just a magical time. So it's going to be great going through some of these games again. Now I do have a little bit of a criteria here. I'm just picking one game from each series, because it'd be pretty boring if there was like 3 GTA games in there or something. So I'm just picking one from each franchise. So I hope that's okay with everyone. So let's just get into the honourable mentions first. Okay, first up for the honourable mentions, we do have Max Payne. Now, admittedly, I did play this on PC back in the day, and then a few years later, I picked it up for the PlayStation. I only had a little go of it on the PlayStation 2, but this was an incredible noir-style game about Max Payne, whose wife has been killed, and it's got a great story, and he goes out for revenge to try and find out who's done it, and it took place in mostly snowy environments. It was a great game. Highly recommend that one. And The Getaway, which was based in London, and I thought it was going to be the new Grand Theft Auto in London, but the graphics at the time blew me away. And it wasn't quite Grand Theft Auto, but it had a great story attached where your son has been kidnapped by a big gangster and you have to go and get him back. I will spend a bit longer on the other titles, guys, but these are honourable mentions. Next up is Freedom Fighters. This was a bit of a blind buy. My dad went and bought me a couple of games that I'd ordered, and it was buy 2 get 1 free at the time, and he just picked this one for me, and what a great game this was. Basically, I think it's like war is breaking out in the city and you have to sort of take it back. It says what it is in the title, Freedom Fighter. Really, really great game, underrated, and I had a great time with this one, I really did. And lastly, we do have Pro Evolution Soccer. This is basically in reference to all 5 games, or there were 6 games I think on the PlayStation 2. But I just picked this one out because I don't own the others. People lend them back in the day and don't give you them back. But I had so much fun on Pro Evolution Soccer with all my friends, couch co-op, no, not couch co-op, but playing against each other on the couch. My friend Jamie, we just couldn't get him off it. He was absolutely amazing at this game. I remember we had a house party and he was just on it all night. No one could get him off it. But back in the day, these were the best football games to play. I know FIFA sort of took over these days, but back in the day, it was all about Pro Evolution Soccer. I absolutely loved it. So that is my honourable mentions. Let's just get into it with the top 10. Coming in at number 10, we do have Twisted Metal Black. Now, I am a big fan of Twisted Metal 2 World Tour on the PlayStation 1. It's probably in my top 10 games of all time. And when this one came out, I bought it straight away. I did not hesitate. And it was just such a great experience. It lived up to my own personal hype there. And Twisted Metal Black definitely should be in this title because it's a much more darker approach. Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal 2 are more cartoonish versions. This one looked like a bit more realistic and stuff, and basically you are just in a car battling out with other cars in an arena, and there's like 8 players. It's not online, I don't think. This is just a single player mode, but I just had so much fun with it. I really did. The only problem I have with this game, in this version, there is no endings. It's not like the US version where each character has an ending, and that was one of my favourite things about Twisted Metal 2. Each character had an ending, all different ones, and this one didn't contain it. I've watched them all on YouTube lately because I actually downloaded this from my PlayStation 4 and I just wanted to go through it again and get the Platinum Trophy, if you like. But what a great game this is, and I love that cover art of Sweet Tooth there, which I actually own on a Funko Pop now. But great game, so many different abilities with the cars as well, like each one has different traits and special weapons. I really hope they bring one out for the PlayStation 5. I would just buy that instantly, and that is a game that I would actually play online. I'm not a big online gamer, but I think Twisted Metal online would be great, so hopefully they bring it to PlayStation 5. I really wish they'd do more with this franchise. But number 10 is Twisted Metal Black. Next up, in 9th place, we do have Medal of Honor Frontline, one of my favourite first person shooters ever, but I never ever finished this game, and it was basically on mission 9, I think. I always got to the end of the level and this, like, the last enemy would always take me out and you had to repeat the level again. It's not like today's games where you get checkpoints. Games were much harder back in the day. I probably do prefer having checkpoints and stuff now, because this did infuriate me. It put me off the game. I tried it so many times and in the end I give up. So if we had checkpoints back then, it probably would have been a little bit easier. But great opening mission on the D-Day. It was kind of like Saving Private Ryan there. A brilliant World War II shooter, and for the time this just felt so great to play, and I was actually kind of angry I couldn't get past that mission because I wanted to finish this game so much. But it was just an incredible Medal of Honor game. Before Call of Duty, it was all about Medal of Honor, and I'll never forget playing this. It was just such a good time, and yeah, just one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. Definitely one of the best on the PlayStation 2 anyway. I remember getting that highly reviewed back in the day, and rightly so. So number 9 is Medal of Honor Frontline. Next up we have Burnout 3 Takedown. Now admittedly I did play this on the Xbox back in the day, but I lost my copy and bought it a few years later down the line on the PlayStation 2. Now this is a driving game that kind of revitalized the genre, if you like, or, you know, sort of changed it up a little bit, because it wasn't just about races in this. You had like a map and you could just pick on the map your next race or challenge, and some of these challenges involved like flipping cars over or crashing into them to send them flying and stuff like that. Some of them were like stunt jumps, and the racing was great as well. The main core of it is racing, but that was just great. It was great taking enemies out when you were racing. It just felt so good to play. It just had this feeling of every time you sort of took someone out, it was just a great feeling, if you like. But I just remember it handling really well, and I know they brought Burnout Paradise remastered a few years ago. I really hope they do the same with this, because I think a lot of Burnout fans want this one remastered for today's consoles, and I think a lot of people would just buy that in a heartbeat, because I remember everyone saying that this was their favourite Burnout, and rightly so. It was just an incredible game, and I absolutely loved it. I think it's the only racing game in this collection. So Burnout 3, yeah, just a brilliant game. I probably should have given it Need for Speed Underground an honourable mention there as well, but definitely my favourite racing game on this system. Next up is Devil May Cry. Now this was a game that I wasn't really interested in back in the day, even when PlayStation Magazine was sort of hyping it up and stuff. I just thought, I don't really like the look of this. And my friend Sean said, oh, it's going to be really good. He was my friend in school back in the day, and he bought it and said it was amazing. So I went, okay, I'll go out and buy it. Because back in the day, to get my games, my dad used to give me a £5 pocket money a week and £1 a day for school, you know. Chocolate bars and stuff weren't that dear back then. They were like 50p or something. So he used to give me £1 a day if I wanted to get something out the shop, and £5 a week pocket money. And every month, I didn't tell him, but I just saved £10 a week and bought a game at the end of the month, every single month. So I bought this, I remember that, and it blew me away. This was basically, he's a demon hunter, I think, and he is, I think, Dante might be the son of the devil or something, this character, but he's a good guy. And you just go into this big castle and fight all these enemies, but it was just so great to have this combat. And the more enemies you hit, you build a chain up, and you could do the special move at the end of it. And I remember going back and trying to complete this game, getting an S rank on all the levels and stuff. There's about 20 levels in this. It took quite a while to get through, but I absolutely adored it. And I have never played a Devil May Cry game since. I really probably should have, because I absolutely loved this first one. But Capcom just hit it out the park with this. One of the best, original titles to come out on the PS2 back in the day. I just absolutely loved it. It was just so good to fight these enemies. Great boss battles. Dante also had these pistols as well as a sword. It was just great to mix the combat up. I love Devil May Cry. It's a fantastically well made game and one of the best games on the PlayStation 2 for sure. Next up is Manhunt. Now, I remember sort of blind buying this one. Like I said, I got a game at the end of every month. But the PlayStation magazine really did influence my decision on what games to buy sometimes. And I knew this was coming out, but the magazine hadn't come out before this game. It was like a week later till the next issue. We couldn't just check the internet back then. I talk like I'm an old man here, but you really couldn't. I had to rely on magazines. And I just went and blind buyed it because I knew it was by Rockstar, who made GTA, and the look of the game and all the still images from the magazines building this up to be like one of the most violent games ever and stuff. I thought, you know what, they already pissed everyone off with GTA because a lot of people were complaining about that game, like kids shouldn't be playing and stuff, hence there was an 18 on the cover. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for this. I bet you Rockstar really do make this such a violent ass game. My god, it was. I remember they actually brought the second one out and they had to cut it in the UK because of the outcry. It was that violent. But this was basically a stealth game, not something I love, to be honest. Stealth games, you got to have a lot of patience for them, but I remember absolutely adoring this. You are basically killed on death row, but it's been rigged so you don't actually die, and this guy says, I got you out of that and you're going to star in my snuff movie. And he set these CCTV cameras up all around the city and he forces you to go around and kill people who are chasing you down, hence the title Manhunt. But you have to sneak and use stealth, and you go behind these enemies, and the longer you held the X button down for, it would go from yellow to orange to red, and when it got to red, you would do a way more vicious kill than you would on yellow or orange. So basically, you are rewarded for having even more patience by these gruesome kills, and each weapon had different ones, like the sickle, he'd go under his legs, or it used to go through me. But this was just an incredible stealth game, it really was. And I really wish Rockstar would bring this back, even if it's just remastered, but it'd be great if they built it from the ground up and done another version of Manhunt. They have some great IPs there. You should really use them a lot more often, but they're too busy with GTA 5 online. But yeah, Manhunt, loved this game, and the blind buy definitely paid off. Getting into the top 5 now, we do have Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and I do have Metal Gear Solid 2 as well, but it has to be this one for me. Metal Gear Solid 2 is a great game, even though it was a surprise playing Raiden there. But this one sort of brought Snake back. I don't want to give the ending away if you haven't played it, but it was basically Snake just going through this jungle, and he had to eat things and stuff to survive. And I was like, what's this game? What's Hideo Kojima brought here to gaming? He's like, he always tried something new with Metal Gear Solid, and that's why I appreciate him. Konami have really lost a great guy there. But it was just such a fun game, taking place in the 60s. It had a great story attached to it, emotional moments, especially towards the end. And the boss fights in this, oh my god, they're just so memorable. Like the sniper kill in the forest. It took me like an hour to beat it because you've got to be so patient. And I remember just climbing this ladder afterwards. That took forever, but it just gives you a moment to breathe after that sniper boss mission. And I remember the big boss fight at the end, in the forest there, which is great. The graphics at the time were unbelievable. I just absolutely adored this game. I do like the first one better. It's one of my favourite games of all time. But definitely the next best in the series is Metal Gear Solid 3 for me. And what a name, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. I remember the starts as well, where the Snake Eater song come on. It was really cheesy, but I think it was meant to be like that. But yeah, great game, highly recommended. Next up we have Resident Evil 4. This was actually in my top 10 games of all time until I played The Last of Us, and I've sort of moved it to 11th now. But if you want to see my top 10 games of all time, that'll be in the playlist down below, you know, if you want to check that out. Resident Evil 4, man, wow. I mean, this sort of introduced new controls, so it weren't like the clunky feel of Resident Evil 1, 2 and 3, where, you know, you have to turn and then move. It was sort of an over-the-shoulder view. And this came to GameCube first, and I remember being really jealous that I couldn't play it because I had a PlayStation 2 and an Xbox. And then they finally brought it to PlayStation, and I just knew I had to play it because everyone was raving about it on the GameCube, and it got so many high scores, and it really was a great horror survival game. Basically, you have to go and look for the president's daughter, was it? And she's been kidnapped or something, and she's in Spain, and you're going through all these little villages. The enemies you come across here weren't your typical zombie. I mean, there was like people, it was like a virus really, and there was bosses with like bags over their head running around with chainsaws. It was just really scary. But the over-the-shoulder view really did make this game. There was some great boss battles in here. Leon, you know, who was my favourite character out of all the games, you were playing him again, which was great. And I just absolutely loved it. It was in 3 parts. I think the first was the village. The second might have been a castle or something. And the third was like on this island. And it really did break it up nicely. Just a brilliant Resident Evil game. I definitely think this is the best Resident Evil game you can play, and I really hope they remastered it like they have with or remake it, should I say, like they have with Resident Evil 2 and 3 there on the PlayStation 4. That would be great. Even though it is a bit more modern than them games, does it really remaster? I don't know, but I would love to just delve back into this in a new form, in a new way, definitely. If they remaster this or remake it, I will definitely pick it up. But I do actually own this on my Xbox One as well, which I haven't played yet. But that's how good the game is, because I bought it again. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, one of the best horror survival games of all time. Okay, these next 3 games do actually feature in my top 10 games of all time video. And first up, in 3rd place, we do have TimeSplitters 2. Wow. I've just realised that this is another first-person shooter game. This is actually the best first-person shooter game on the PlayStation. For me anyway. Basically, you go to all these different time zones and different countries and playing as these different characters. Like, it might be a Russian base, it might be the caveman times, and you've got all these different weapons and stuff. And you're I can't remember what this whole story is. I think you're trying to stop something from happening in the world that's going to be catastrophic. But you're going through time and stuff like that. The story was great. I just remember loving it. And this is also a brilliant couch co-op game. Me and my friend Phil actually, you know, done the whole story together. You know, and it was just such a good time. I've never really done that since. But me and him had such a good time trying to get through this game together. And there was a lot of challenging modes on this as well, so when you finish the story there was still plenty to do, and some of them challenge modes, man, I was amazing at them. There is 2 games I would say that I have been amazing at in my life. The other one is the next one coming up, but TimeSplitters 2 and the next one coming up, which I'll show you in a minute, are them 2 games. I remember the PlayStation magazine, they had little scores at the end of every month that people had sent in, you know, on these challenges, and I remember one of them, the record was like 50 seconds for this level, like speed running. I done it in 21 seconds or something like that. I was just like amazed with myself, and I didn't have the equipment to record it or anything to send it in. But they were my version of trophies back in the day, you know, just looking at these scores in magazines and trying to beat them. But this is a brilliant game. I've just bought it for my Xbox One. They had a sale on all these old games basically on the store, so I bought it. It was £2. Bargain really. Can't wait to jump into that again. I did have a little go of it the other day actually. Yeah, TimeSplitters 2, brilliant first person shooter for sure. Okay, the other game that I was amazing at in 2nd spot is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. Now, I spent countless hours on this game. I just was addicted to it. Trying to get all these little challenges and stuff that they set out for you on each level. You know, you might have to collect the word skate, and S will be in one place of the level, K will be in another place, and you had 2 minutes to do it. Yeah, and you just go back to the level and try and do all the other challenges and tick off the checklists. But what was so amazing about this game was the gameplay. It just felt so good to be skating around these levels that were well designed, like airports and stuff, and just, you know, doing all these tricks. It was just so addictive. It really was. And you could get a score on this, and if you don't mess up or fall over or anything, you know, your score will keep going up and up and up, and it's like a chain basically. And some of the scores I got on this were, you just had to see it to believe it, really. I was so good at this game. I pushed myself to the limits. Like, I'm talking like, you know, 8 or 9 minutes here doing these scores. I just didn't mess up. I was just so good at the game. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I will forever cherish these memories of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I actually set my PlayStation 2 up not long ago, and the first game I put in was this. I really hope they bring it out with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 for the PlayStation 5 like they did with Tony Hawk's 1 and 2. I will buy that in a heartbeat. I bought 1 and 2 to support it, and hopefully we'll get 3 and 4. That would be amazing. It really would. I need this game back in my life. So number 2 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Coming in first place though, no surprises for guessing what this franchise is from. I have actually spoke about it at the start of the video. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, where do you even start with this? I know a lot of people do prefer San Andreas, but for me, I just love the 80s, the soundtrack, and what really pushes me over the edge this game over San Andreas is the property buying and stuff, which I'll get to in a minute. But basically, you just take over the role of Tommy Vercetti, who is sort of, I think he's on the run or something, I can't quite remember, and you have to sort of, you know, it's kind of like Tony Montana and Scarface. They take a lot of influence from that film, and you sort of, you know, build yourself up the criminal career ladder. But the whole look of this game was great. It was just so colourful. And back in the day, you know, you had GTA 3, and when they were releasing images of this game, like, they were bringing like motorbikes into it and stuff, and just teasing you all the time with swords and stuff like that. I was like, wow, so they got swords in here and more weapons, and you know, you're riding around on motorbikes. What's all this? It was like they took GTA 3 and doubled it into this amazing game. Like, all the stuff they couldn't do in the game, but they had ideas for, were implemented into this. It just has a great story going for it. Everything I wanted back in the day from a GTA game was in here, and the property building, which I said what pushed me over San Andreas. I just love it when you actually buy something. Like, it could be a paperworks factory that prints paper, or you know, it could just be a hotel, but each one of them that you buy gives you some certain missions, and I love doing that. And then going back to collect your money, like, you get revenue off them. Like, every couple of days you could go and just pick your money up that you've made, because it was like a business that you accumulated. My only regret with this, I'm kind of ashamed to say it, is that I never ever finished this game. Yeah, I got to a mission where you have to break this guy out of jail, and I just could not do it. I couldn't do it. I tried and tried and tried, but I have just bought the GTA Definitive Edition on PlayStation 5. I'm actually going through GTA 3 at the minute. Nearly finished it, so I will get to Vice City soon, and there's no way I am not going to finish it. I'm going to finish that damn game and 100% it to make up amends for what was back in the day. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this top 10 PlayStation 2 games video. What are some of your favourite PlayStation 2 games? Let me know down below. Is there any that you like here? Is there any that you don't like? You know, any of these in your top 10 PlayStation 2 games? What are your memories from the PlayStation 2? Let me know down below, and I will reply to you all, I promise. Please consider subscribing to this channel and giving this video a like. It would really help me out and the channel as well. Thanks so much guys. Take it all easy, and I'll see you all in the next video.